Sacred Geometry podcast.
All right, we are
Oh, cool.
live and leaking.
Word. And like alien stuff. And just because I can never get over the alien topic and the alien subject, like to me, it's so fun. And especially compared to like Star Wars and sci-fi movies, like when you hear about other people talking about it, you're like, oh, we could actually make these empires scarier, but with like weird forms of honor that are similar to General Order Number One, but at the same time, when you break warp, suddenly it's more closely related to Klingons and elves than it is like Vulcan, all that other stuff. So like, I've been listening to that all day, and I've just been waiting for Thursday to bring more of it back up.
Actually, fun fact, the next Thursday show, I've been doing a lot of research on the scientist behind De Glocke, the bell. And check this out. The dude's name was Kemmler. Supposedly, he dies shortly after the bell is, quote unquote, activated. But here's the interesting thing. Supposedly he dies by suicide, but there's no record. It's just a trust me, bro, from one of his lieutenants. And this is around the same time that Paperclip is going on. And there's so much evidence to suggest that he got picked up under Paperclip. They potentially launched a version of the bell that crashed in Kecksburg. And then then the American military disappears him in the desert somewhere. It's highly implied that that's what went down. And I'm putting together all the information for you guys on where I'm getting it all. But that's crazy that this guy might be one of the most evil people in existence. And that's why they couldn't name him on the Paperclip paperwork. Everything about this guy says he should have been tried at Nuremberg, but wasn't. Like, even like after he died, they should have tried this guy to like make it clear. He isn't. And then all this crazy nonsense happens, and there's vague mentions that there are these German engineers that were showing up to work on black projects that would show up, do the work, and be gone. And that one of them, apparently, after he was no longer useful to them, they just got rid of him. Like, no questions, just gone somewhere.
Dude, that's gonna be so fun. You should send me a like.
I'll send you everything I get.
Okay, because I want to make like an infographic so we can do like a timeline.
All right.
With like the pictures of the documents, so we can show like, oh, this is where he disappeared according to the Germans. This is where he may or may not have done. Because like I really like those, and this topic to me needs timelines.
Yeah, but freaking crazy, right? Like this is going to be a good and spooky one.
Mostly because we've already done the bell.
Yeah. And now we're talking about the monster behind it, and this dude was a serious monster.
Yeah. If it is who I think it is, I don't want to break the teaser. I really like this tease.
Yeah.
All right, then with that, we will see everyone and everything on the other side. Tonight, I once again try to run a competent show and almost stick the landing as we get ready to talk about some Wolverine leaks, some Star Wars leaks, and that has to do with Ahsoka Season 2 and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's the best place to be because it's the Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast! Bring on that.
Sounded good.
And welcome once again to the Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast, the best place to be on a Tuesday night for all of your insider information, as well as just, well, honest opinions about everything in the world of general entertainment, whether it's books, shows, movies, video games. We like to talk about it and get into it. I know I say that we haven't done a book review in a while. We're going to try and eventually get back into doing book reviews. We haven't touched Severance. We have to finish the rest of Severance. Our plan is to eventually get back in the rest of Severance. But all these shits are going to start coming together when I start sleeping better and I get back continued into a better routine. Until then, we at least have the Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast on Tuesdays, which I still love doing because it's always a great time with you guys, Corione and John, talking about the world of pop culture. But first, let's go around the room. Corione, what's happening today for you?
Oh, dude, so much is going on in terms of entertainment and the info that we got. You know, I was sitting around at my house, thinking, hey, I haven't heard from the intelligence avians recently. And then, bam, we get this huge leak from Sparrow. And I can't wait to talk about that as well as all the other craziness going on, man. We've got a lot happening.
That we do. Pollo Zapatos. So you got anything to add before we start getting into the to the intelligence drop?
Ni hao. I forgot the other one. Completely biffed it.
Pollo, do you want to
that
save
would
him on this
be-
one?
Washang Hao?
Washang hao.
There you go.
Yes. Shout out to our Chinese overlord algorithm. We also
Google's Chinese overlord.
we tried to reach out to them in the chat. Hopefully they saw us. Hopefully they'll unshadow ban us. But at the same time, guys, word of mouth really helps. If you like and subscribe, you love what we do here, please help us continue. You know what? I don't care if you love what we do here. If you just sort of, they're okay, I guess. Good enough. Tell all your friends anyway, because your friends might be the ones who absolutely love us, but they're not going to find out if you don't tell them. If you think that what we're doing here is fairly, acceptable,
Competent.
good enough, please. And if you have any complaints, send them to the writerbrothers@gmail.com. Pollo Zapatos in the chat says, we love what we do here. Exactly. Now, speaking of what we do here, it's time for some intelligence to feast on, guess you could say. Tim Miller hopes to direct an X-Men movie. It's Marvel's secret weapon. Corione, you want to do a little background on this before I read the article?
Yeah, so Tim Miller is the director.
John's excited.
No, I think I found a little Easter egg this afternoon on my Instagram. And mostly because I've been playing Marvel Rivals, I was able to tie the two together. I'm pretty sure it's Cara Delevingne playing Magic. Go for it.
Okay. So, Tim Miller is the guy behind the Deadpool movies, right? He's been the director for them. He's been working with Ryan. They've been getting along really well. They hit it off. They found the right rhythm for Deadpool. Tim now wants to take a shot at the upcoming X-Men movie that Marvel Studios has been kind of building towards over the last little bit. My understanding is after Secret Wars, the Marvel Universe on film that we are used to is going to have a whole bunch of the side stories that have not really fit in yet merged in. So we're going to have X-Men in the Avengers universe that we're kind of used to. And Tim Miller wants to be the guy that gets to direct the X-Men movie because he feels this is what's going to revitalize the MCU in the long term, is bringing in the X-Men and making them awesome. And, I can't disagree with him on that because I think he's probably right that the bringing forward the X-Men and making them, not suck would go a long way to revitalizing a kind of exhausted and fatigued MCU.
My only concern is that Deadpool, I really would hope that he flexes a different muscle.
Yeah.
Because the way that Deadpool plays is very unique and doesn't tell much of a story. Deadpool is just really fun to follow along on his adventures. But if you're really going to try and show me a story like that, man, I'm trying to think of who does it best. But the only one I can think of is Tarantino and the guy who did The Gentleman.
Okay, but consider this. In the third Deadpool movie, if you remove kind of the Deadpool-ish aspects of it and just focus on the Wolverine character, we actually do see a character arc there that does develop well and does develop through his getting over his own trauma. That's actually decently done.
No, I would say we see Deadpool changing the entire time. That's not what I'm pointing at. More what I'm pointing at is the comedy. That's not something that usually follows most X-Men. You have Wolverine trying to get a joke in there, and I think it would be awesome seeing him use that kind of part of the X-Men comedy where it's more it falls flat. Deadpool always falls flat, and that was something that actually worked in the Wolverine versus Deadpool movie. But I'm more talking about the cut effects. Let's start at the end and then go back to the middle and then go through, and it's I love it for Deadpool because I'm following Deadpool and he's actually the one cutting the story up. But if it's not Deadpool there to do it, it makes it harder for me to follow, especially in terms of the X-Men team. I would much rather see a more structured X-Men movie rather than a Deadpool.
No, and I get that, but what I'm saying is if you look at Wolverine's story in isolation inside the Deadpool movie, you do see a proper character arc here that is based on Wolverine getting over his trauma. And that is promising. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not doubting his ability. I'm just asking him to flex the other one.
Yeah, fair. Fair.
Honestly, that's my big opinion based off of this whole article. It's like, yeah, no, he's right. He is the only one that's been making good MCU movies. Name any other one that competes with Deadpool. I'll wait.
Yeah, I mean, well,
like
okay, I would
Endgame.
argue since Endgame at any rate.
Even
'Cause-
monetarily, nothing has come close. Like Deadpool
Sure.
became the number 2 R-rated movie in history, and then number 1 R-rated movie the second try. Like on a sequel, it's supposed to burn out a little bit, not double.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And then, I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine, I never remember learning the numbers for that one, but
that one just killed.
It's now number 1 at highest.
It was number 1.
grossing
It was number
R-rated
1
film.
for months. Like, it was not.
Yeah.
It was Deadpool and Wolverine was the first return to the summer blockbuster that we'd had, after content droughts created by the virus of unspecified origin, as well as
I'm gonna be honest,
writers and actor strikes.
I don't even think it was the answer to a drought. I honestly think it was a minor oasis in this current desert of the MCU. Like, there is one team making record profits, and then there is the MCU universe.
Yeah.
Well,
that
and
team.
the thing
I
is,
don't
though,
care how they want to square it, but like, I have been to the movie theater 3 times since the virus of unspecified origin, and the first one was Deadpool, and then the other 2 were random horror movies. But I have not seen Thunderbolts on purpose, and I have not seen Captain America: Brave New World on purpose, and pretty much anything else. Like, Moana was one of them. So see, I am willing to support Disney if they're going to prop out decent work. But like, that's not the MCU. And so this guy saying, hey, I want to do it, like, bow. Say thank you.
I mean,
and give him the job.
Well, and I think it's actually, it's Marvel's secret weapon. Marvel basically hit. John, do you remember back in the day when, before adulthood, when the first X-Men movie came out, and like how much enthralled in that universe we were as kids for like at least a year, and the toys that we got that Christmas.
A year?
Oh yeah, no, back in the day, fads
99.
lasted more than 5 minutes. I know it's hard to believe by today's standards, but
No, that phase for me was like, it is my number 1 entrance into Marvel. Like, I am a diehard Hugh Jackman Wolverine. I love the Wolverine, but like, Hugh has been my Wolverine forever. And so like,
yeah, he's been everyone's. Anyway.
Well, no, because I remember the cartoons too, and I can't watch them because it's not Hugh. Like, he just sounds gross. Like, he sounds like the video game
John needs an
version.
AI voice filter to put Hugh Jackman.
The video game is, if it's video game, that guy, because he was the one in the Weapon X game, and that game was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I love the voice actor in the video game. I can't watch the show because my brain is like, it has to be Hugh or it's not Wolverine, and I'm in the multiverse and I don't like it.
Wolverine is not small. Wolverine is 6 foot.
Dude, Wolverine is a quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
I
on the weekend.
gotta give credit where due with Brian Fuller on that one way back when to just not just to option it. Hey, so he's supposed to be like 5'8". Yeah. Why? It's different Wolverine. Let's just let Hugh.
Hey man, it
Hugh.
worked. Let's let it cook.
It did. A somewhat more intelligent and taller Wolverine was a smart call.
Yep.
The biggest thing was the difference between the Colossus picks from the other X-Men universe and Deadpool Colossus. Like, that guy against Wolverine makes Wolverine look small finally.
Yeah.
Like, that Colossus is Colossus. And that's my only concern when it comes to Wolverine. Like, being accurate is that Colossus is much bigger than him.
Yeah. Well,
That Colossus can pick him up and yeet him at something.
Mostly because Colossus is one of my favorite X-Men in terms of like he's the more honorable Wolverine.
Fair.
And like same level of power, but still has honor and like still cares for teamwork and camaraderie, which is the most useful thing in a team.
Oh.
The psychological healer, if you will.
so yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty true. I mean, if they're going back to the X-Men, that's probably a smart play. The X-Men had everybody. You had X-Men and X-Women, so to speak. You had
and you had genetically diverse with genetically normal and all in between, and you could actually have those debates per character and not drive the whole show around one character getting powers and being genetically diverse.
right.
Yep.
Yep. Exactly. It simply told good stories, and so hopefully they don't screw it up if they go back to it. But I mean,
Well, I mean, I'd even argue this: X-Men '97 has been a fantastic template of what you can actually do, and potentially do live action
yeah.
to produce something great.
Right? And that's exactly what I was gonna say, because like I watched this listened to this podcast on Time Suck years ago about Stan Lee right after he passed away. And he actually, like, writers and reporters asked him, why did you create the X-Men? And he legitimately said, there's a lot of different people that I have not been able to reach, with each of my specific heroes. And so I created the X-Men to start being able to reach more individual types of people while still maintaining the fact that they are all still part of this regular heroic world, and being a hero has nothing to do with where you were born or what you were born with, and has everything to do with heart, character, and honor. And that was his whole pitch about the X-Men, which is like the entire social justice movement. Like that's why for me early on I was like, oh hell yeah, the nerds are finally standing up against the bullies. And then they became the bullies. It's like they lost their honor and character.
Yep.
But they found their willingness to fight. And it's like that, you got the first part, but you gotta maintain the other two part, which only comes from being the smaller guy and having to always pick the high road. But once you become the big guy, you have to remember, pick the high road. And that's what Stan Lee was writing. Look at every single one of his heroes, and that's exactly what they embody, plus their individualism.
Yeah. All right, shall we move it on?
Yes, if you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino, more specifically his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood show, then you might be excited to know that Scott Caan and Elizabeth Debicki have been added to the feature. Now, this is what's fascinating is that Tarantino has written the script for this, but he is not directing it. So it's being run by Netflix. It stars Brad Pitt and yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood I was thinking it was going to be, this is a movie where, Quentin Tarantino makes fun of classic Hollywood. Okay, things are going along. And then we get to see the serial killer show up. And you go, the monsters show up and you go, oh, this is a vastly different movie than I thought it was. And you go, oh crap, and now I'm really, really happy they're doing a follow-up, because there is a lot that could be done with this series, with this as a series.
Yeah, so it sounds like we need to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and do a review for this channel. Maybe one of those offline things we did one time.
Wait, have you not seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yet?
Yeah, I didn't get around to
Oh,
it.
dude.
Okay.
It's
We
Friday
need to
night take a drink and just enjoy the whole movie. Like, if you can, watch it on the beach on a projector, because it's a really, really fun movie. But like, you want to be chill. You don't want to get up. You want to be
Yeah.
able to sit and enjoy the whole thing. But like, one of the reasons why Tarantino isn't continuing it himself is I want to say he's one of the ones saying he's writing his last movie, and like he's working on his final project. But this is, I don't want to spoil anything, so all I'll say is like, it's very much a funny introduction into a serial killer version of For All Mankind. Like,
Yeah, kind of.
What if Rocket Space went to power? Like, what if people actually fought the serial killers
Yeah.
and won?
Yeah, it's that's actually a really good way to put it. What if For All Mankind, but in like the classic serial killer era?
But only so far serial killer stories. Like, we haven't
Yeah.
seen any other escalations or any other progressions. So like, it'd just be really funny if it was just a series of like, what if the serial killer died?
Oh, like it would be hilarious if like the actor takes like a trip to New York or whatever, and then we're dealing with Son of Sam.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm
right,
just like imagining like a Jack Reacher, but for hunting down serial killers, but a much more like actor,
but like
just
totally
goofing off.
accidentally, right?
Yeah. Just living his life, and it's always running into these stories, and just my God.
That would actually be kind of great.
I have a pair of shoes that I bought because of Brad Pitt's shoes in that movie. And I love them to this day. Like, but I don't want to spoil it anymore because it's so good. And the whole, like, because you live on a beach, Parker, like, it's the best idea if you can watch it on a beach projector and just enjoy a cold drink while watching it, because you'll laugh and like be in the vibe of the whole movie. It really feels like a beach scene the whole time, even though they're in like
middle of the high desert.
Yeah. But it's awesome. It's a really fun movie.
Yeah.
Well, then I will definitely have to check it out, because it does sound like. I mean, I've enjoyed Tarantino's work overall. It's definitely needs to be viewed at least once, especially if you're going to have a channel like this where you review content. You should probably at least watch Pulp Fiction or Django Unchained, or I guess Once Upon a Time in Hollywood now. I guess you could do the Kill Bill movies. I didn't see those ones. I don't really have a big desire to.
I've tried so many times. I cannot do the 80s filmography unless it's like Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah.
Or like Beverly Hills Cop.
I mean, I enjoyed the Kill Bill movies because, I mean, you know, those kind of 80s movies when I was that young were forbidden, right? So now it's like, now that I get to see them, they feel like wonderfully taboo in a weird way.
Dude, I agree, but for some reason I still can't start Kill Bill. Like, I've watched Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, all of those, and I'm like in on that, but for some reason the Kill Bill series just holds me.
See, I kind of feel like Kill Bill in like Tarantino's verse. Kill Bill is the movie that is like playing in the cinemas while the rest of these things are going on. Like,
that's what everybody says. And I love that. I want to watch it. I'm just so... It's mostly the fast cuts. I hate fast cuts.
Fair. All right. So let's go on to the next one here.
All right, this one I'm gonna have to read aloud. Andor team breaks down their favorite series moments, including that Mon Mothma speech. Hundreds of Star Wars fans gathered at the Writers Guild Theater in Los Angeles on Friday night for an evening with Andor. Oh, that actually sounds fun. A Paley Live finale celebration of one of the franchise's most beloved series. The audience cheered wildly when cast members Diego Luna, Adria Orjana, Ben Mendelsohn, Genevieve O'Reilly, and executive producers Tony Gilroy and I'm gonna guess Sane Holenberg? Yeah, Wolenberg, arrived for an extended Q&A moderated by comedian and Star Wars fanatic Patton Oswalt. Well, the last part's... Well, anyway. However, fans hoping...
It's 100% true. He may not be your type of Star Wars fan, but the dude's been raving about it in all of his comedy specials for decades, so can't take it away from him.
Yes, I can,
Yeah.
and I will. Anyway, no, I don't care to either. Patton Oswalt's gonna Oswald.
No, I'm gonna
Okay.
be honest. He's the one that did the actual like vocalization for it, as far as like comedians keeping it alive. For some people that are like timid fans, and like
Okay, let's keep reading the.
go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, slob Patton Oswalt snob on your own time. However, fans hoping that creator Tony Gilroy would continue to deliver content set in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away will be disappointed. Speaking with a Hollywood Reporter on a red carpet before the event, the Andor creator shared it may be some time before he returns to the Star Wars universe. Okay, that is pretty disappointing to hear. Rogue is 10 years ago, and that's 6 years of my life, and that's 26 hours of programming, he noted. I mean, never say never, but I want to direct again, not right now. Well, that's fine. I think a lot of people kind of want. Like, I'm actually looking forward to the rest of 2025 because we get a bit of a Star Wars content drought for the remaining of the year, and then I don't think we have Star Wars again until Mando and Grogu,
Right.
and then it's
And then Ahsoka season 2.
We'll talk about in a bit. Yeah, Gilroy also shared his favorite scene from the series, which wrapped up its second and final season earlier this month. And the one he was most disappointed not to have included, Edie coming for lunch, coming over to Deidre's apartment. I could write Edie all day. I was so disappointed I couldn't get Edie going to Luthen's gallery. I was like, oh my god, that's a half-hour scene. I really wish I could have written that. Oh, so I guess if we had gotten more seasons, we would have gotten more Edie. Yay.
Yay. Yeah.
Sorry, but I kind of felt like after the dinner scene, we kind of established the dynamic, and that was that. And then of course, you know, it carries on into the Gorman plot. The whole thing was pretty good.
No, I feel like in terms of like Edie's story, we wanted it to be cooler, but she was in the least hostile of all the scenarios. Like the most risky, sure. The hardest, sure.
Yeah.
But hostile and fun, hard no.
Yeah.
And we know that because we watched her story.
Luna, who plays Cass,
to move much from the radio.
Yeah.
It's like what PD did in the Coast Guard. Like if he wrote a movie about just his job,
oh
he
man,
would all be doing his job.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
that's
for
a whole.
Edie,
That's a. We'll have to when we resurrect the writers' room. I'll talk about pitching. You know, the Coast Guard show I have in mind.
Yeah. All right.
Luna, who plays Sirius hero Cassie Andor, shared his favorite scene, which came at a decidedly more dramatic moment of the story. The whole Gorman massacre was so intense, deep, and emotional, he told THR. It was definitely something I'm not going to forget. There were shots where everything was happening at the same time. There were moments when there were multiple cameras, and we were executing the whole thing with all the extras, stunts, and effects, and fires, and detonations, and fights. It looked incredible. The sold-out audience cheered loudly throughout the screening of Episode 9, which played in the theater before the Q&A. During the panel, Luna shared that the production's dedication to creating an authentic universe through practical sets and effects allowed the actors to deliver their best performances. Yes, 100%. Gilroy understands that one of the reasons that Star Wars is good is because of practical effects, because of on-set shooting, because of real explosions. Not just CGI orgasm of freaking blue screens, green screens. Reason why Phantom Menace holds up out of the prequel trilogy, is because we still have those on-scene location moments. While I did thoroughly enjoy Episode 3, you know, you could tell it was all sound stages, but
Yeah.
is what it is. Still a great movie though. Even better now. If there was a drawer that was missing something inside of it, there was a logic in the kitchen for cooking. Many times the production design team would come and explain to you the logic of the set, he explained. The job of the actor becomes possible. It's not about you in the world, or in the words, it's about you living in the moment. That's correct. Gilroy added, the greatest thing he did was we were able to inspire and allow mania in every department. People want to go crazy. They want to do their work. If you give them enough time and just enough money and say, okay, yeah, go further than you've ever wanted to go before, we let people go nuts and people want to go crazy. In every department, people were so happy to do all this crazy shit. Happy workers are productive workers. Who would have thought? One of the series' most talked about moments was a stirring speech condemning fascism delivered by Senator and future rebel leader Mon Mothma, played by O'Reilly. She shared with Tango Hotel Romeo how she was able to deliver such a powerful performance. Initially, we would film it in sections, and Gilroy said to me, "You want to do the whole speech, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, I do. I want to feel. I want to have to stand up and give that speech so many times so I could feel it as an actor," O'Reilly said. "I would have to carve the nuance of when she was focused, when she was distracted, when she was fearful, so that you could fill a speech with that. I think this whole piece is an examination of courage, the courage of ordinary folk, but she doesn't quite know it's courageous in the moment. It's full of self-doubt and fear. I could find her courage within the words and within her voice."
Yeah. Honestly, that speech was absolutely out of the park amazing when it was delivered.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole... It was funny, somebody in SWOTOR earlier, when I was streaming on the X's, said, he asked, I just watched the original 6 Star Wars movies. Should I watch the Disney trilogy? And I said, yes. Andor Season 1 and Andor Season 2 and Rogue One are an incredible trilogy and story that you should absolutely dive into and check out. And yeah, they probably meant the Disney sequel trilogy, and that's what I came up like. I gotta do that meme. I think it's what, Benicio del Toro, or no, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
When you say Disney Star Wars trilogy, you mean the sequels. When I say Disney Star Wars trilogy, I mean Andor Season 1 and 2 and Rogue One. We are not the same.
We are not the same. Yep.
Because I gotta give credit where due. People say, "Oh, all the Disney Wars sucks. It's bad." 60%, I think, is where we're at. 60% is about saturated. I mean, we'll see.
Counting runtime, and if we include the Clone Wars, yeah, 60% is a good number.
We don't include
Yep.
the Clone Wars. Clone Wars was pre-Disney.
I would give them the last season.
The last season, sure, but
That's where you get the 60% number.
I
Otherwise,
mean,
it's like
Rebels.
closer to 40.
All right, so let's go through the through the list real quick. Rebels, good.
No. Let's start at the very beginning. Final season of Clone Wars.
That wasn't the beginning. That came after Rebels. But anyway.
No, but let's do in canon order. So final season of Clone Wars, Bad Batch season.
Still gotta finish Bad Batch.
So good.
Rebels.
Then we have
Rebels, which was good.
which was
Rebellion,
awesome.
which was not so, or Resistance, which was not good.
No, Resistance was so boring. We had
Solo.
the Jedi Tales. We had the what was it? Tales of the
Jedi, Tales of the
Rebels,
Empire.
Jedi, Tales of the
Tales
Empire.
of the Empire was pretty cool. They
That
had a
one
new
came
one,
later.
Tales of the Rogues or Rogue
Tales of the Underworld.
Underworld. That one
Solo.
was really fun.
Solo was fantastic. Solo
Yep.
didn't deserve the treatment. Solo should have released in the.
I mean, I have my
Yeah, it's
issues
Christmas
with
time.
Solo. I feel like it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, I feel like it was mid rather than bad.
Right.
I
feel like
don't
it's
even call it
neutral.
mid. I call it one of the greatest Star Wars movies ever.
Phoebe
Like,
Waller-Bridge Bridge Droid is what
it's
drags it
Gwendolyn
down.
Christie in my head canon. Problem solved. You're welcome.
I honestly, to me, the thing that brings it down is it should have been a TV show.
Well, it's
Okay.
Like it 100% should have been an Andor type Solo, not a movie. Because if it was
right,
a
but
TV show,
we'd never had
their,
TV
like,
show.
the banter and charismatic would
Right.
have been awesome.
Okay, but the problem is that wasn't going to
Mandalorian that
happen.
year.
What was going to happen if this movie had been good was we were going to get a Boba Fett movie. It's because this movie flopped that The Mandalorian became a TV project. That was the whole reason.
Is that it?
Yes.
That's
I thought
it.
There was
Mandalorian came out
never
at the same
any
time.
intention of live action, small screen Star Wars because Lucasfilm thought that
I'm
was a
glad that-
waste of time and resources. Well, until Solo bombed hard because they thought, oh, it's a Star Wars movie about one of the greatest characters of Star Wars. It's going to be great. And it was. In my opinion, it's one of the greatest Star Wars movies ever. It just, the timing was bad. We had Last Jedi, which is just craptastic as far as a
That
Star
was
Wars
it.
movie
I was
goes.
trying to figure out why Solo bombed. Because I could not. I remember it being good. I watched it in the theater.
Oh, I did too. I saw it in IMAX, and I saw it a couple more
Yeah.
times in like Dolby Atmos. And every time I watch Solo, I'm like, this movie's really good.
Okay, I mean, like, I don't know. I have a slightly different opinion, but I do get where you guys are coming from.
Yeah, but that's just it. That's the thing, though, is that's one of the better ones. But why is Solo good? Because it kind of just focused on the heart of Star Wars. The soundtrack is phenomenal. Once again, we
True.
have John Powell decided to actually work with John Williams and consult with him on it, and that's the whole reason why he actually Williams even wrote the theme for the Adventures of Han for him, and then he just derived everything else he needed from that, and it was incredible.
Yep.
I would even go so far as to say, like, it did everything that they wanted to do with everything else, which was like blow up the universe without Jedi. And it absolutely hit that on the head in every sense. And like, I even think the annoying droid is 100% equal to Lando Calrissian being annoying. Like, if you're gonna make Childish Gambino Lando Calrissian, like, you have to give him some kind of anchor, because like now suddenly like Han is the worst person ever for not trusting Lando. And that's to me more like why I thought it was so good is it felt like everything had its equal hold while also being like a trying to break the chains of monotony and servitude.
Yeah.
Which is like classic Star Wars. And it was like, look how much harder it is without a Jedi.
Yeah,
And that made sense.
it,
All
And
right.
look why Han didn't become perfect overnight. And look why Luke inspired goodness in him at the last minute.
Yeah. All right, let's
100%
continue on
agree
here.
with you there, John. So we'll have to watch and review that for the channel sometime. Marvel is skipping Comic-Con's Hall H this year. No, that doesn't mean there won't be a Marvel presence at Comic-Con. It just means, Corey Owen, what the hell does this mean?
Well, okay. It's entirely possible that Marvel is desperately trying to avoid negative press because there's a lot going on right now. Apparently, the latest test screenings for Fantastic Four First Flight have not gone well. Okay? And apparently they've really not gone well. So that's a concern. The other piece is Secret Wars is running into some problems getting off the ground in terms of delays. So there's additional issues there. And no one wants to come to Comic-Con to hype your next, few years of movies and be like, "Oh yeah, but we are having serious problems getting these movies off the ground." Right? Like
Apparently-
nobody wants to be that, right? So
Dude,
it's
apparently
they're
making
figuring it's
the
probably
movie-
better to say nothing than saying something.
Apparently they're making the movie from The Boys, the like in-universe girl power empowerment movie that they made. Like, it's very like
Yeah.
Fantastic Four at the end suddenly becomes Yes She Can. And
Yeah,
the guys are just
And the guys are
Yeah.
just kind of there, and yeah, there's a lot of
the
stuff that's
NDAs
going
aren't
on.
working.
Yeah. And it's bad when it starts leaking because people don't leak good movies.
I was on the campaign development team for Halo Infinite. I know some people don't like to hear this story all the time. Other people who are new here, congratulations, now you know. And none of the details of the plot, while it wasn't super complex or super involved, Nothing. Nobody leaked. Nobody spoiled some of the heavy-hitting moments, like the moment we get Master Chief's humanity, or the moment that the weapon realizes, what she's capable of, and all these other high moments in Halo Infinite. These big, events, especially if you're a Halo fan. None of them. You know why? Because the story was actually decent. The gameplay was actually good. People were excited to bring this product to their fellow Halo fans. And so that's, yeah. So yeah, 100% what you're saying, Corion, is true in that people don't leak good movies. And sometimes you get that one asshole that's out there, but even then it seems that the asshole is starting to go the way of the dinosaur. And and even then, it's like people don't, and people also don't want to go look for leaks for stuff that they're really excited to see what happens. People are looking for leaks because they want to make sure it doesn't suck. And
Dude,
that's
I
the
don't even
problem.
watch trailers unless we do them here on the channel.
Which we're doing some here on the channel.
But like that's part of my thing with how much I like waiting for the good.
Yeah.
So testament to what you're saying,
Yeah, and so I mean, I can understand why they're concerned, right? The next couple of movies are having problems, and you don't want to be the guy that has to go up on in front of ravenous, hungry fans and be like, yeah, so we have to do a bunch of reshoots for the next movie, and then we have to incorporate some of the problems from the first movie into the next one. So we've got to be very, very careful about what we do going forward. Nobody wants to be that guy who's standing up there. You are not going to be able to pay like Sam Jackson to be the guy that goes up and says that, right? You're not going to be able to get a Tom Hiddleston to go up and do that. So, what choice did they really have other than to just sit quietly and hope this all blows over, and then, wait later and then go to the pub until this all cools down?
Yeah. So grab around and wait for this all to blow over. Speaking of things that have now blown over, Shurigatwa bids bittersweet farewell to Doctor Who after just 2 seasons.
Yeah. So, look, I appreciate the idea, like the concept of doing a Black Doctor. I actually do. And I think there was going to be some interesting potential for doing what is in effect a very modern UK Doctor at that point. The problem is they leaned into the blackness instead of just making it the Doctor who happens to be black. And that's what screwed them up, I think. Okay? Now, the ratings have just plummeted since we had our first female Doctor. They went a little bit back up when David Tennant returned, but with Gatwa, it just went right back down. And
well, I heard
now,
the storylines were just not...
They weren't great.
Yeah, they were just pretty weak overall. Not even just with, supposed anti-woke types, but even, like, fans.
Yeah, like diehard fans were just like, meh.
Tried to love this, and I don't know. Jay's not here, though, so I can't speak for him. I'd have to see what he thinks about this.
Now, what is interesting is the last scene,
which I skipped ahead to watch.
Yeah, which supposedly has Billie Piper being the next incarnation of the Doctor. Which, now, to Billie Piper, the actress's credit, she is very connected to the Doctor Who mythos.
Right.
Her, she's very involved in every aspect of it. She's, there isn't a bigger female superfan than Billie Piper. Having her play the Doctor when she has played a companion, and in my opinion, one of the best companions to the Doctor, is, while definitely an interesting change, potentially has legs. I'm not going to say it's going to be good. I'm going to say this has potential.
I have to agree, because I've seen a lot of people say, oh, Doctor Who's over this time for... God damn it. When it's over, it's over. it's a crazy Hail Mary play, don't get me wrong.
It is.
It's gonna require some kind of solid explanation to why, what exactly is going on here. But
And I mean, I have my theories on why this could be.
Yeah.
But
Doctor Who has always been a bit of it's more of science fantasy, at least as far as we can comprehend, and that's okay. But you can't do any worse than the Timeless Child. So,
well, I actually think that the way they're setting this up with Billy Piper, it's entirely possible they are attempting to retcon the Timeless Child doing this. And if that's what they're doing, and I'm not guaranteeing it is, but if that's what the plan is, then, dude, go for it. Please. Yeah. Get that out.
Yeah, I have to agree. All right, now for the first entry of our trailer discussion. Go ahead and pause the music.
Yeah. What do we got here?
MST3K.
We got the Dexter.
We're gonna start with Dexter. Dexter's Laboratory. Oh, no, wait.
Somebody once told me, you have to go through hell to achieve resurrection. Hallelujah.
Dexter, it's like seeing a ghost. Chief Bishop told me that you were alive. She said that you were the Bay Harbor butcher.
So much for the happy reunion. What better place to hide?
It's the greatest city in the world.
Where nobody knows who you really are.
Tell me more about your friends.
Prater likes to own things. Time to meet the man of the manor.
Welcome. I cannot express how excited I am to meet you.
You really like serial killers.
I pride myself on finding the best of the best in every field.
Let's show and tell, baby.
So there are others.
On their way.
Only in New York.
Tonight's the night.
Invitation delivered.
This is the dark path you're going down. I heard you to be careful, son.
I'm tired of being careful. What do you think?
I never actually watched the original Dexter series. I'm gonna have to now.
Okay, this seems like, I don't know, some kind of Dexter Squid Game hybrid here. It's like,
right, yeah.
We unleashed 16 serial killers in New York. Who can go the farthest without getting caught,
I heard the original show was really good, and
the original show is, well, I mean, the premise is actually pretty cool. Like, give a forensic pathologist, a guy who's supposed to be helping like catch these guys, and make him the serial killer, so he knows exactly how to not get caught, and have him tracking down serial killers with the aid of the cops to kill the serial killers. Like, that's his game, right? That's his preferred prey.
Yeah.
So and Peter Dinklage seems like he's like, I'm giving you 16 serial killers to go hunt through New York. Have fun. Sounds like a particularly badass kind of idea.
It's got my attention to the point where I'm now thinking of actually going back and watching this show. So,
yeah.
Pollo Zapatos, any thoughts on Dexter revival?
I'm gonna be honest. That's really messed up. Typical rich people just messing with the entire city.
Typical rich people.
All right.
Like a really messed up Katniss Everdeen.
Right?
I had determined that the memory of my evils should die with me. Some of what I will tell you is fact. Some is not. But it is all true. What manner of creature is that? What manner of devil made him? I did. I had a vision. An idea took shape in my mind. Inevitable. Unavoidable. Until it became truth. In seeking life, I created death.
All right. So to me, this looks like they're going back to the original Mary Shelley story.
Well, first
That
of all,
is a good omen.
Netflix, if you're watching, I'm there with my ass in a theater. I would purchase a theater ticket for a theatrical release of what I just saw. I mean, it's the same guy who did Pan's Labyrinth. Need we say more? No, we don't. All right, thanks for watching the Entertainment Information Development Podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Holy crap! I watched that trailer the first time. I didn't really have any kind of draw to it. I was just like, Frankenstein. Oh, we've seen the series, and then I watched it, and I'm like, Guillermo del Toro. And the whole that trailer just hits all the right notes. Like it makes it feel just gritty and very like it's another telling of the story, but it's starting to make it feel plausible again, and that's what's
Right.
crazy.
Guys, we've got till the fall. Do we want to read the book, Mary Shelley's original book?
Well, you
before we
mentioned
see
that.
it?
You mentioned that. So why don't you continue as to why you think that's a good thing? I got one more
Well,
thing to pull up.
Okay, so Mary Shelley's OG story is actually really well constructed. It's probably the basic for sci-fi horror. It's like the OG of it. It's really kind of the first. Like Jules Verne sure did sci-fi first. Shelley did sci-fi horror kind of together for a first. And Shelley is a fantastically creepy lady, right? And Del Toro is hitting all the buttons on it, right? We're seeing that, it clearly looks like it's the monster and him are separate, and you get to realize through the story that that's what is interesting about it.
Isn't that what the Gene Wilder
Young Frankenstein
was based off of as well? What is going on there? Oh, I'm having trouble not getting any upload right now.
Let me see if I can see what's going on here.
Yeah, for some reason I can only upload it.
Yeah, we're just getting spinning on the live stream.